Hey, it is Monday afternoon. I thought it'd be fun to do a little lunch and learn, share a single idea, and answer a bunch of questions. I've got a hard stop in like 23 minutes. I'm doing an interview with somebody about my new book at 1 p.m. Central, so I'll have to jump off for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to share one idea, just one idea. It's lunch, single idea, lunch and learn, if you will, and then I'm going to answer any questions you have. The questions can be about anything. So here's the idea. And I shared this in the Overcoming Overthinking Challenge. If you missed it, we'll probably do another challenge, not about overthinking, but we'll find a different topic. So keep an eye out for that. I'll make sure that I talk about that everywhere. Margaret just said you have a new book. What? I think you're being sarcastic, Margaret. I think you've already have 3 copies of my book. If it's the Margaret, I think it is. I think you have lots of copies. So here's the principle. It's called Look for the First Plate, or you might say watch out for the first plate. It's a soundtrack I use when it comes to my goals. If you don't know what a soundtrack is, it's my term to define and describe a repetitive thought. Some people say thoughts are like leaves on a river, cars on a highway, clouds in the sky. For me, a repetitive thought is a soundtrack. And a few years ago, I learned how to choose the soundtracks I listen to, and that changed my day. Instead of my thoughts holding me back, I was able to pick and create thoughts that push me forward. And it's been awesome. And I think you can do it too, and it's amazing. So I want to give you one soundtrack that I think will help with your goals, especially your health goals. So here's what it is. Watch out for the first plate. Watch out for the first plate. What does that mean? It means that if there's a single dirty plate that's put into our kitchen sink, 50 dirty plates are going to show up next. What? How is that? Yeah, that is exactly what happens. If a single dirty plate gets put into the sink, I will close my eyes, and 30 seconds later, I swear there is a dirty plate rave happening in our sink. Like all these just dirty plates and forks and knives, like dirty plate Ibiza. Like it's disgusting. How does it happen? It happens in part because my kids don't have the arm strength, apparently, to open the dishwasher and see if the plates are dirty and then put that plate in with its brothers and sisters. And it's not like it's far away. Like, here's the sink. Here's the dishwasher. Did you see the turn I did? Here's the sink. Here's the dishwasher. But they often don't want to take that little extra step. So they go, I'll just put it in the sink. And then once it's in there, it sends a signal to every other dirty plate in the house. Every other dirty plate is like, hey, guys, hey. Party time. Get in this sink, dude. Get in here. It's time to party. And then 100 other plates get in there. Now, how does that apply to your goals? Well, I would argue that in any goal, there's a dirty plate just lurking. There's a first plate. I'll give you an example. Maybe you want to run a little more. You know, like you're not like I'm not a crazy runner. I'm not trying to do marathons, but I want to try to run a little more. And then one night, instead of getting your clothes out and laying them out before you go to bed, you take your running shoes and you put them in the garage. You put them where you can't see them. And you put it somewhere, like maybe even behind a cabinet, maybe even in front of the car. You'd have to move the car to get them out in the morning. And you wouldn't think that's a big deal. But that little action can change your ability to actually go running. It's a lot easier to run if you have your shoes where you'll see them. It's a lot easier to run if you see your shoes first thing in the morning. So maybe your first plate is you put your shoes a little far away. Maybe your first plate is at the grocery store. You buy the bigger thing of the thing you're trying to eat less of. Like you're like, you know what? I didn't even know they sold jumbo tubs. Like this ice cream tub is so big it comes with wheels. Like it comes with its own little dolly. Like I carry this ice cream out with a dolly. That's amazing. I'll try to have self-control when I get home, but I bought the ice cream that is so big it comes with its own dolly. That's a first plate. You've taken a step. That's a first plate. And so I think in any goal, you have to try to figure out, okay, what's the first plate for me? I think, for instance, if you have a side hustle, if you're an entrepreneur, your first plate might be you don't send the invoice as soon as the work is done. The longer you wait to send the invoice, the harder it gets to send. I know so many entrepreneurs that do amazing work. They fulfill everything the client wanted. They're like photographers. They edit all the photos. They plan the shoot. It goes so well. And then for whatever reason, they wait a day. They wait 2 days. They wait 3 days. They wait 4 days. They wait 5 days. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of resistance, a lot of inertia for you sending the invoice. So maybe your first plate is to go, oh, I see that. If I wait a day to send this invoice, I'm not going to do it. I just got to roll up my sleeves, even though it's a little bit of a hassle, even though I have to come up with a form, even though I have to ask for money. that's your first plate. So my encouragement to you is look for your first plate. Watch out for your first plate. Look at your goals. Last one I'll share. Sometimes the first plate is you log on to YouTube, you log on to Instagram, you log on to Netflix on a Monday night, and it's 10 p.m. and you say, I'm just going to watch like one show, 10 minutes, like 5 minutes. And then you look up and it's 3 hours later. 3 hours later, like hit me up with a yes in the comments, like in the chat. Has that ever happened to you? You say, okay, I'm going to watch YouTube for like 5 minutes, 5 minutes tops. And then you look up and it's 4 hours later and you're like, whoa, what did that? And what happens is your goal the next morning just took a hit because at 10 p.m., you said you'd watch 5 minutes, but you ended up watching 2 hours. Now it's midnight. Now you go to bed later. Now you don't want to get up early. Now you feel a little ashamed you went to bed so late. Now you feel kind of gross in the morning and you don't go do the things you had planned for the morning. So like the morning you doesn't even know the night you just put a first plate. That's a first plate in the sink. For me, opening up Netflix, if I get into bed, that's the first plate. I've just put the first plate in my sink. So that's my suggestion to you. Look for the first plate. That's an example of a soundtrack. Soundtracks comes out a week from tomorrow. And I'm going to talk about it a ton this week. I'm going to talk about it a ton next week too. But what I'm saying this week is if you pre-order, and I'll put the link right in there, I'll send you the whole audiobook for free. Soundtracksbook.com. Let's put that link in there so you can go get it. All you have to do is pre-order anywhere you want to pre-order. Pre-order on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, and then go to soundtracksbook.com. Fill out a form so that I know where to send the audiobook, whole audiobook. All right. We've got 17 minutes. Watch out for the first plate. That's your soundtrack for the day. Maybe I should do that, a daily soundtrack. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Okay. So what questions can I answer? I'm going to go through these. Let's see. Finished your book last night. It was your best yet. John, thank you for reading, Sam. We've already sent out a bunch of copies of this. A bunch of people already have it. Sam, thank you for saying that. Folks have been writing reviews. It's been so fun. Yes, silverware multiplies like gremlins when they get wet. That is good, Margaret. That's a great line. At least you have a dishwasher. That's true. That's true. Like dirty socks. Yep. Okay. What other questions do you have today? Any questions about writing a book, starting a business, anything I can help you with today? I'd love to do some Q&A. If you guys don't have questions, then I'll just go get ready for the next thing I have on my list, which is 1 p.m. I'm talking to Real Simple, the folks over at Real Simple. Guess what I'm talking about? Soundtracks. What? I love that inside cover. All right. Jonathan. When you write, do you do all the research in advance or write and then insert research? They run in parallel. What I found, Jonathan, is that writing is a parallel process. So even my outline is kind of changing as the book goes. Like I know, like I have an outline, but it's not so set in stone that I can't take a different route if something presents itself in the middle of the book. I always tell people, you never end up exactly writing the book you set out to write. So I run my outline, I run my writing, I run my research, I run my feedback from you guys all at parallel. It's like 4 things that are kind of interweaving versus it's more like a, to use a software term, it's more like Scrum. It's more like a Scrum process and less like waterfall, where it's like one stage and then another stage and another stage. It's more intermingled. Okay. Yeah, Vicky, will soundtracks help with ruminating on a person? 100%. I talk about in the book that you have a soundtrack for every person in your life. So 1,000,000,000%, Vicky. Yes. Amy, how are the cows? Yeah, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, Nashville had like our 2nd worst flood that we've ever had. And in our neighborhood, there's a river that goes through our neighborhood. It's really fun. There's a river walk. It's so beautiful. But there's a farm across the river, and the entire farm got flooded and washed the entire herd of cows into our neighborhood. So they were able to rescue some of them. Some of them they weren't able to rescue. I saw 3 cows go past me in the river. Like it was a crazy day, but yeah, they were able to rescue a bunch of them. It was super tough. That I so bad, like feel so sad for that farmer. Just a local farmer, local family. That's super hard. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay, ASL Chick 23. My daughter started an online hair bow side business. She's making her own website. Any you recommend? I think there's a billion like free great options. When I first started my own website back in like 2001, you had to build it yourself with Dreamweaver, and it was tedious. None of my photos were ever sized the right way. Like faces are already stretched. So yeah, I think there's a ton. I think I guarantee somebody's used a free service right now in this chat. They could throw one. So if you're on here, and you've had a good experience with a free or a low cost website builder, jump on. I mean, I've known a bunch of people that have used Wix, W-I-X, that seem to have it pretty good. So yeah, I would find a free kind of freemium where you can always buy upgrades, but there's so many versions that you can use now. Ariel G, do you schedule down days? Like, do I schedule the days I'm going to rest? No, not really. Like Saturday's kind of my Sabbath, I would say. Like I love to work and I love to kind of keep hustling. So I schedule in the sense of I have to commit to them. I'm super bad at like sneaking away. Like next thing you know, I'm working or I'm writing an idea. I'm like, what? So yeah, I schedule them also in the sense of like I have to fill them with things that are peaceful, or else I tend to kind of lean back to working. But they're not super overscheduled. Let's see. Wrote a kid's book about overthinking. Wrote a kid's book, but overthinking the illustrator. Book's not good enough to bring to an illustrator, or I'll get ripped off by an Upwork illustrator. Any advice / soundtrack? Yeah, I mean, if it were me, if I was worried about getting ripped off by like illustrators that are out in the universe, I would try to find one that I could figure out a relationship with. Yeah, I understand the idea of like sending an idea to an illustrator you've never met, you've never connected with. So I guess I would try to do a more personal approach to that. If I was worried about kind of this big ocean of illustrators I didn't know, I might make it my goal to meet some illustrators. There's illustrators where you live. Like in the city you live, there's real illustrators. And so if you were worried about that, I would find real illustrators that were in my city, which might take more work. It just might, but it depends on the size of your concern. Like if you're super concerned about the copyright thing and like somebody stealing it, then it's worth the time for you to go find some illustrators, you know. Adam Harris, the software process is Agile and Scrums are the meeting. Yeah, Agile and Scrums. I haven't done software development for 15 years now. So you're definitely right. Okay. Late night music and poetry. You're overthinking organizing your CD book. It's taken me a week so far. So here's the thing, late night, it might just be you enjoy organizing it. That's okay. Like I reorganize these bookshelves all the time. That's not failure. I enjoy doing it. So don't be afraid to go, yeah, I'm just puttering. Like that was an old school like phrase we used to have, like when a grandfather would go out into a garage and like he would putter. He wasn't like, got to organize this, I got to do this. Like if it were me and I'd been spending a week going through my CDs to organize them, it might be that I just like organizing CDs. Like I like spending time with them, and that's not failure. Margaret E. John, I'm writing a book about personal experience and lessons learned and advice I would give. Do I need real research or is my personal experience good? Here's what I'd say, Margaret. Write the first book that way, and then later on add some research if you want to. If you're writing a book about personal experience, the level of research I would have is I would quote other books. I might not do any original research. I might bring in other sources of other information, but I wouldn't try to go find a PhD. I wouldn't try to like have 1,000 people tested. Like I would quote other books. And then second book, third book, fourth book, if you want to expand the research and pay for that, then maybe it's worth it. But I wouldn't let research stand in the way of you publishing a book that's largely based on personal experience. Janelle Keith, are you a list maker? Yes, I'm definitely a list maker. Like this is my daily list, and there's different. This is Thursday. This is Friday. This is Monday. I'm always crossing it off. So yeah, I'm a huge list maker. I mean, I have lists on lists on lists. I just find lists really comforting, where I can go, okay, like here, these are my list of ideas. Like these are ideas that I have. They're numbered. I work on them. This is a list of the top of this page is Jackson Hole things I wanted to bring on my ski trip. The bottom half of the page is the 10-day giveaway. I'm doing a 10-day giveaway on Instagram. So I made a list of, okay, I think these will be good gifts to give. So yes, I'm definitely a list maker. Let's see. All right. Daily soundtrack would be great. Thanks for the encouragement. Having a few false starts running. Any tips? Yeah, Sean, make it as fun as you can. Make running as fun as you can. Like, I have to make it fun. So like there's times when I don't feel like running where I'll say, when I run, I get to listen to this audiobook. Like, I find the best audiobook when I'm really excited about it. And I only listen to it when I'm running. So that's like a little bit of a reward, a little bit of incentive. So like I always tell people, make running as fun as you can. If you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, do a different exercise. I don't like cycling. Some people love cycling. So yeah, if you do like running and you're having a hard time starting, make it as fun as you can. Jeff, how are things in the neighborhood? Things are good in the neighborhood. There was flooding more like in a neighborhood near us, a flash flood by a big creek, but our neighborhood did okay. Brandon, self-publish or seek out a publisher? This is always my answer to this question. Start with traditional, then go to self. Like, explore traditional. Like, maybe you get a deal. Like, maybe you get a publisher excited. Maybe you find an editor who's amazing at a publishing house that's going to fight for the book. Maybe that happens. If it doesn't happen, and I'd give myself a set amount of time to say, okay, it hasn't happened, I then might go try self-publishing. You can always do self-publishing. I'd start with the thing that you can always do. Let's see. How do you get your idea for a book down to a focused enough concept for a book? For me, I have to write and write and write and write and write. For me, it's about kind of these three things that I've talked about before. Like, do I have a passion for it? Personal passion. Is there a real need? And is it missing in the market? Because those are like, I want to write a book that sells. So I look for those three things. And if I can find those three things, then the main idea becomes a magnet. And I think of it like drawing other ideas to it. So then I've got a magnet. And like, if I see an idea and I'm like, that doesn't fit, then I'll put it on the side. Oh, that one doesn't fit. But then I see one that's like clamped onto, I'm like, oh, that idea fits. That's how I think about it. All right. When pivoting to this is Cecil Gibby. That's a great name. When pivoting to a new side job that will require use of social media like Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, do you create a new account or some special steps to transition your own personal accounts? If they were me and my side job required use of social media, I would have accounts based on that. I don't know. Like, unless I had a huge platform and it was weird for me to create a new one and it was like just a hassle. If I say I got a job, it depends too. Like, depends on if you're getting hired at a company or if you're just doing a side job on your own. But if it were me, I would start something new. I wouldn't take my regular account and be like, here we go. Greatest example I have is Stuff Christians Like, a blog I wrote for years. When I wanted to write something else, I didn't just start cramming personal development onto Stuff Christians Like, because that wasn't our agreement. Our agreement was I write funny stuff about Christianity. And if all of a sudden I was like, let's talk about goals, the audience rightfully should be like, that's not our contract. So I would start something new. Mike Loy. Mike, I love yours. Yours is just a statement more than anything. You said, I'm going to order a few more for friends, a few more copies of soundtracks, and set it up for gift delivery through Amazon. I can't wait for them to be surprised and soundtracks get delivered to them. Mike, I love hearing that. I love. That is so fun. Last question, because I got to go take a phone call. Amy Boshears, how do you choose which one goal to start on if you have so many to choose from? I don't like the one thing. I'd pick two. Pick two. Here's why. I think when you pick one, perfectionism comes in and goes, oh, you got to pick one. It's got to be perfect. I think perfectionism gets super duper loud in that moment. So I'd much rather you go, I get to pick two. Don't look for the perfect one. Try one for a month and then see if it worked. The problem is we'll spend a month looking through them and then never pick one and then never progress. So I'd much rather you pick two as a way to shortcut that, or pick one and set a 30-day time frame that you work on it, because it's not forever. The problem is we go, I got to pick the one because this is going to be my thing forever. It's not. Give yourself a month. Test it for a month. That'll be more than what 99% of people do. If you work on your goal for a month, you're already so far ahead. All right, guys. 1 month, 1 week. See, it still feels so far away, but it's only a week from tomorrow. Week from tomorrow, Soundtracks. If you haven't ordered a copy yet, soundtracksbook.com. And make sure you get the free audiobook. If you pre-order before next Tuesday, you get the whole audiobook for free. And I read it, and there's bonus content. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys.